Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside, and today we're going to talk about all things Felco and how to keep your Felcos in tip-top condition. All right, I have gathered all of my supplies right here, and we're going to list on the screen for you all of the supplies that you're going to need to take care of your Felcos. Because of course, Felcos are the great Swiss-made pruners that we absolutely love and adore, and they will last you an absolute lifetime if you take care of them. Now, I will be the first one to admit, you can probably tell from my number 2s that these things have been well used, well loved, but also neglected because they are they're a mess. They are filthy, they are dirty, they need some attention, and they need to be sharpened. So we're going to show you step by step how to do that with your Felcos. It does not matter if they are a number 2, a number 8, a number 6, a number 14, whatever, the process is still the same. Now, I will be, you know me, transparency, right? So I have 2s and I have 14s. Show you a difference because I know a lot of people are like, well, which one do I want? It really depends on your hand size. The 14 is really good. Maybe if you have a smaller hand. The 2 is very adaptable, whether you have that medium hand or even a larger hand, because Jerry's does number 2s as well. I would say number 2s are probably the most popular. But my 14s, I went ahead and did a practice run, and I took them all apart, cleaned them, sharpened them, so that way I made sure that I knew exactly what I was doing with this. And man, they are great. Like, there is no crunchy sound when I open and close them. So obviously you need a pair of Felcos. And the basic tools that you're going to need for this are, you're going to need a bucket of hot soapy water, so I have that. I am using an SOS pad. If you had like a little steel wool brush, you could certainly use that. This is what I have, this is how we're going to get all the grit and the grime and all the dirt off of it. You've got the Felco 905. I discovered this a little bit later after I had already gone through and picked out my socket wrenches to take apart my Felcos. If you get the 905, this is all you need, because here on the end, it has 2 different sizes depending on how you turn it that will loosen these screws on your Felcos. So just save yourself some time and trouble and just get the 905, because it has will loosen all the bolts and it has the sharpener built in. So if you don't have the Felco 905, then you're going to need to have a socket wrench, and you're going to need 2 different sizes. I have a 7mm and then I have a 5/16, because your 2 screws, your 2 bolts are going to be different sizes, and you're going to need to loosen those. I did try, because it looks like it has like a flathead, and I tried a flathead screwdriver. Didn't go very well, so I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. Then you're going to need, if you don't have the 905, then you're going to want to get the sharpener. This is the 903, and this is just what you're going to use to sharpen your blades with. So you're going to have this sharpener. The Felco 990, this is your synthetic grease. This is what's you're going to put in once you've taken everything apart and that you have cleaned it. It's nice and clean, it's dry. This is what's you're gonna put in between your working parts. It keeps the water out and it keeps your Felcos from rusting. That is a very, very important part of this whole process, because if you've ever had clippers and you've left them out in the elements, I know I have done it with other brands and they rust, and once they get completely rusted, they're done, right? So we don't want our Felcos to rust. This is what's going to help you and prevent all that water from getting in there and rusting. Cleaning products in general, we'll get to this one in a minute, and then the last one that I'm going to use today is the 980 spray. This too, when we're all said and done cleaning our Felcos, we're going to spray this on, because again, this is creates a waterproof seal on our blades and all of our working parts. This you're going to use quite frequently, like every, I don't know, month or so. I'll give this a quick little spray on my Felcos. It kind of cleans them, it lubricates them, keeps them waterproof. So this is going to be the final application that we're going to use today. But get all this out of the way here. first things first. So I do have my number 2s, but I also have my little snips. This is my 322s, and I love these. So in my garden tool belt, I have both of these, the 2s and the 322s, because these are great to get in when I'm deadheading roses or I want to get into something nice and tight. I use these. Now, we're not going to take these apart, but I am going to clean them and sharpen them. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide them in the hot water while we take apart our number 2s. I would recommend being nice and organized with your removal of all the parts, because you've got to remember where everything goes. Before we get too far into this, I brought over a pair of new number 2s because I want to show you the difference in the wear and tear of a new versus what mine look like. Now, I'm not going to get mine as, you know, beautiful as the brand new ones, but they're going to get a lot better. So this is the difference between a brand new and a well-loved, and I've probably had these a year, 18 months, I would say. So that is what we're going to do first, is get this taken apart. All right, so I've got my Felcos in hand, and you'll notice on the 905, on one side it says M7 and one side it says M8. The M8 is going to be obviously the bigger number, so that's what we're going to start with first, and we're going to release this screw. So you're just going to, let's see, I can't remember how to do it. Go away, there we go. We're going to go away from us, right? Because lefty-loosey still works, still applies. And once you get it loose enough, you should be able to do it with your fingers. There we go. So this is what takes off the little catch claw. So it looks like a little claw, and that is what right here holds that all in together. So make sure you keep these two together, because they will come apart, and we'll actually clean these, but I like to set them off together so that I know that those two are pairs. All right, now we're going to get rid of the bolt with our little thumb catch right here. So I find that if you open it up, open it, and then leave this all the way open, and then you can really get in there and then start to loosen it. So I'm going to actually kind of turn it this way, and then we go and hold it this way. You really just kind of have to work it and see which one works best for you and your grip. All right, now be very careful, because when you take this off, there is going to be a little teeny washer underneath there, and if you're not careful, you're going to lose it. So this actually, it was attached. Let me show you how tiny this is. It's actually stuck on my finger. All right, see how little that is right there? So don't lose that, because if you're not careful, it will fall out. And I don't know if the camera will catch that, but can you see all that red dirt that's in there? That's not rust, that's good old North Carolina red dirt. Gee whiz. All right, now at this point, go ahead and take your spring out, just throw that in there and let that get, and this is a mess, so don't, let's see, gotta remember, okay, yeah, you're gonna get greasy and messy on this. At this point, this just unscrews, okay? So you're gonna take this and you're going to unscrew. We're gonna set that off to the side, and then you're gonna have a bolt right here that's gonna come out. All right, so there you have your bolt. Those two go together. Now, here we have, this is the anvil part. This is not the actual part that cuts. This little guy comes off. We're gonna clean that, and this will actually, let me make sure, I thought this came, nope, okay. So we're gonna take this, drop that in there too, and yes, you're gonna get messy. This is your blade. This is what this will come off, and then this is what we want to actually clean, right? So there you go. We've got all of that. We're gonna let this sit in here and soak in this nice hot soapy water for a little bit, and I actually get my SOS pad and start cleaning my 322s. Now, the great thing about Felcos is that if you need to buy a new blade, because, you know, life happens, right? And sometimes either maybe somebody borrows your Felcos, or you know, who knows what happens, and you just need to buy replacement parts. Well, the great thing is that you can buy just a blade, or you can buy just certain pieces. You don't have to throw the whole entire pruners away. You can buy those different parts and pieces. See, look how much cleaner already those are. Can you see that? So much cleaner. And then we're going to get this nice and dry, and then we will sharpen them. These are a little bit more right here. Much better. All right, so we're going to set this off to the side, let these dry, and then we're going to start cleaning. And I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is take these out of the water, and I'm just going to simply get with my SOS pad, and I'm going to start scrubbing and getting all of the dirt and the gunk off of these parts. And then we're going to put it all back together. All right, so everybody is clean, everybody is dry and taken apart. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the process of putting this back together. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit of a puzzle. So if you are like me and you are a visual person, maybe before you take all of your Felcos apart, take a picture of your phone so you know what the final product looks like, because that that can be very, very helpful when you're trying to put it back together, because if you start to overthink it like I do, then you're gonna want a visual cue. I have the other Felcos right down below me, so I can, let me just grab those. I'll have those right here. Okay, so other Felcos right here beside of me, because that just helps my brain work a little bit better. If you're my husband, then you probably don't need that, because it just makes sense to him. Okay, so here we go. We got these, the new Felcos that are going to be nice and open, and they are laying right there. Now this is the one that's going to hold the blade. On here you will see that there are like 3 little black raised notches. That is going to help you position your blade in the correct position, because your blade also has, sorry, a little bit of water there, has those 3 same holes that it is going to line up. Now we're going to do it just like this. And when I was doing my smaller ones, my number 14s, I didn't realize how important it is to make sure that your blade is laying flat against your handle. You don't want any room right there, okay? So that's nice and flat, because otherwise things are not going to lay down correctly. See, there's no gap right here. So that's very important for you to make sure you do that. So that can just sit right there. Next, we're going to take our handle that has the anvil on it, and let's see. Here we go. First of all right, take your grease, your 990, And we're going to, right here, we're going to put a very small little bit amount on there. It does not take a ton. So this one little tube, and it's very thick. This one little tube will last you, I would imagine, quite a long time. And on the back of the tube, it tells you on what parts you need to apply it. So we want to put it right here on the blade that we just did. Then we're going to put it in the bolt that goes through the same position, and then we're going to put it on the one that looks like a little gear shaft. We're going to put it on all of those different spots. All right, so we've got that. Next, make sure I get this in the right order here. Those two come together right there. Then we're going to come with our plate. And I'm going to go ahead, y'all. Well, it certainly doesn't hurt, right, to put a little extra on here. In my opinion, it's better to have a little bit too much in too many different places than not enough, because I certainly don't want this getting rusted. Flip that over. Goes like that. Then next is where we're going to put the little gear. We're going to put it on the outside of that as well. As such. Flip it over. Lay it down, and basically you just want all your holes to line up. Then we've got, make sure this is nice and dry, our bolt. Put that on just a little bit, because as you screw it in, it will move around. This actually is going to come up from the bottom. Probably should have done that first. It's all right. Sometimes you just have to work it, y'all, right? Work the system, work the puzzle. All right, got everybody in, and then you just take that. We're going to tighten it down with our fingers. This is where it gets greasy. So I have an old towel, like we have a cabinet above our dryer where we keep old, oh my gosh, there we go, where we keep old towels, like what we call work towels, whether you're washing cars or whatever. All right, so that's what I'm using, so don't fret, this is not a good towel. Now we've got those guys back on, line everybody up, and we're going to come back with our little claw. There we go. It doesn't say to put this on here, but I am. Put a little grease. And at this point, you can start it with your fingers and get it going, and then we'll tighten it down here in a minute. There we go. Now, with your little thumb grip, do not forget your washer. So we're going to put the washer down first. And it's tiny and it likes to move around. Go ahead and put, here we go. Again, with your fingers, start it with your fingers. Now, at this point, everybody's put back together, right? So we're nice and put back together. So now it comes into the time to start tightening. And this is where you're gonna have to use a little bit of practice, because you've got to figure out exactly, like your thumb grip, you want it tight, but obviously not so tight that you can't open and close it with your hand, with your thumb. So you're just gonna play with that a little bit. So it's still just a little bit too loose for me. Now that point is too tight. It really is a little bit of give and take, y'all. You just have to, then you're like, okay, we're gonna move just, we're gonna loosen it up just ever so slightly. Why can't I get this to go on? Sweet heavens. There we go. This is where gardening teaches you patience, people. All right, so it's tight, but it's not too terribly tight. Now we're going to come back over here with the M8 and tighten that up. All right, so at this point we're all back together, and then you can just simply take your spring, put your spring in, right? Nice, great tension, perfect. Now, everybody's back assembled, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin sharpening it. This is where that great 905 comes in quite handy. On here, there are two blades. On the package, it labels it as A and as B. So with the A, it's super simple, because what you're gonna do, you only need to sharpen your blade. Your anvil doesn't do the cutting, so we don't need to worry about that. We're just trying to sharpen this. All right, so now it is time to sharpen. And I went ahead and I've got my 905, and then I keep, y'all, I am such a visual learner. I told Jerry, I was like, you should probably be doing this video because this just makes sense to you. I am a girl that has to look at the directions and look at it a couple of times and hold it everything like it tells me to. But here on the back of the box of the 905, see those diagrams? It has those for you, so you know exactly how to hold it and which blade to use and which direction to go. So that is what I'm doing. So I'm going to use the little smaller side first. I'm holding it to me, and I am going to be bringing this to me just like this. Nice, smooth as you can possibly be, right? Smooth action, bringing it to you. That is going to sharpen your blade, and in fact, I can see the little, I don't know if that camera will pick up on that, but I have little metal shavings on my hand. So that's where it's actually sharpening my blade for me. And the great thing, we were looking at this, the sharpening tool, is that even the blades here, you could replace. So you could buy just replacement blades right here and not have to get the whole tool. So do that a couple of times, oh yeah, and you will feel that it is definitely sharper. This way you don't have to worry about the angle. The angle is already set for you, and it is great. Then what we're gonna do is we are going to flip it, and we're gonna hold it as such this way, all right? And we're going to take the B blade, and we're just gonna run it over here. So we're gonna smooth out the edge right there. All right, I think we're good. If you wanted to, you could also do just a little bit here. Not that we're really sharpening it, just kind of smoothing that out a little bit. Nice, clean, great sound. So everybody is put back together, nice and sharpened. Final step is we're going to use our 980 spray, and this is that final bit of that lubricant, and it is another layer of waterproof. And it's a little pump, so we're just going to spray, flip. We're going to let this sit and let that soak in. Actually, I'm going to do this first. Get it all in there, everybody together. And we're going to come over here and we're going to do our 322s. Still going to use the same blade on this, the sharpener. Still just bring it to you just like that. Sharpens that blade. Super easy. Take a spray. Nice and sharp. And we're going to come back through and then just blot it with the towel. If you have paper towels, of course, this will work as well. Just get that extra grease off. And just like that, my Felcos are like brand new once again, and will be happy to go out and go into the garden. Now, it is so important, you cannot understate the fact about these Felcos, is that when you take care of them, and really, right, I need to do this probably every 6 months. So I'm thinking the extremes of the winter. In the cold of the winter, and then in the heat of the summer where maybe we're not in the garden as much, this would be the perfect time to do this. If you weren't filming the video and you knew what you were doing, it would probably take you, under 30 minutes to do all of your Felco products. Cleaning them, oiling them, greasing them, and sharpening them. And that is what's so great about the Felcos, is that if you do this regular maintenance, then they literally will last you forever. And if a part wears out, or if you get to a point where your blade just needs to be replaced, you can just replace that blade. You can take these completely apart down to just the bare pieces and clean everything. You cannot do that with other products. So I love the fact that we can do that with these. Yes, they are not the perfect shiny as they once were, but they are still in amazing condition, nice and tight and happy and sharp, and we can keep them in great condition for years and years and years to come. So all of these different parts are just, you know, they're tools in your gardening toolbox, right? Not only do you need to have a great pair of clippers, but you also need to have some way that you can protect them, clean them, and keep them sharpened. Of course, we have all of these on the website, so if you would like to, maybe you've never had a pair of Felcos and you want to order your first pair, we've got those available. Or maybe you're like me and have had some for years and you've never done this step in cleaning them. We have all of these supplies on the website. You can order them straight from Creekside Nursery and we will get them out to you lickety split. So get out there, take care of your tools, because these tools are an investment, and when we take care of them, they will last us for a whole lifetime and years to come. As always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.